mentioned earlier, Peter Ellis, who was the architect for the Oriel Chambers. This is the other building he designed just a couple of years later on Cook Street, which even with this now you can see it's developed even more into the sort of the very early version of what you might describe as a skyscraper. Obviously the low bearing weight's not in the front of the building, so you can get away with have more glass in the front, let in much more light, which was the idea back at that time, sort of factories and stuff. The Hard Day's Night Hotel and the famous Matthew Street, which is popular. Famous John Lennon statue. Cabin Club. That's not the original one though, the original got filled in. The original one was the opposite side, so probably around here. Got filled in, so they recreated it. Sorry, that's the Cabin Club, that's the Cabin Pub. Always get it mixed up. But either way, it's not the original one, the other one was the opposite side, probably where the Cabin Pub is. This large mural up here, I think it's newish, by a Scottish artist. Like a mix of themes that tie in with Liverpool, with Carl Jung, an renowned psychiatrist in 1927, though he's never visited the city, had a dream about Liverpool and referred to it as the pool of life. So I think that's what the sort of pool is there. And then the walrus, I think, is a nod to the Beatles, I Am the Walrus. There is actually a plaque somewhere nearby of Carl Jung and his little quote about Liverpool. Here we go, managed to find it. It's not spotted it before, but it's a lot bigger than I realised. Bust of Carl Jung. Liverpool is the pool of life. At the Met Quarter here. Used to be mainly shops, but I think it's like a cinema. So top floor is taken over by Lipper now, performance art. Used to have a top floor, but fire took it out, so it's missing the floor now. Statue of Eleanor Rigby. Eponymous Radio City Tower. Used to revolve at the top, but doesn't anymore. Don't think I've ever been in actually. Go through St John's, I think, Market to get to the observation deck. And just in front you got the Playhouse. Just off this little side street, off the main shopping drag, you got the oldest building in the city centre. Very late English Baroque, from about 1716 to 1717, so later editions as well, in the Queen Anne style, not to be confused with the period style of the late 19th century of the same name in UK and America. See the liver bird up on the cartouche there, with the tympanum. Courtyard in the back there as well, some more gallery shops, and like an old bookshop there. And that was, I don't know if it is now, like an instrument repair shop, I seem to remember. A liver bird at the top of the front gates as well, carrying like a fern or something in its mouth, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think you always say it like that. Just opposite is part of the Athenaeum building. Seem to be exhibiting a lot of Bob Dylan's artwork at the moment. What's the Bravissimo underwear shop is, I believe, if I remember correctly, was the Quiggins, the old Quiggins, and alternative shops inside. But then they got kicked out as part of like the L1 regeneration. I believe some of the old stores that occupied like the Quiggins space are now in Grand Central, up on Renshaw Street. They're not as what it used to be. All like the high-end shops along here. It used to be a lot more rough around the edges around here, and then it was all redone, redesigned. It used to be a massive hotel down so between here and the front. Got knocked down, demolished, and then they rebuilt all this up. Old US Embassy, now a restaurant, as you can tell by the big eagle on the front. Right next to it is a large set of gates, seem to be a bit out of place. Big ornate gate, nautical sort of themed, maritime themed motifs. Poseidon or something on the front. It's actually the old gates, front gates of the sailors' home, which used to occupy the site, the only remaining part of it. Building from sort of the mid 1800s, got demolished in the 1970s. It was like a home, inexpensive boarding, sort of recreational kind of apprenticeships for sailors in the city. This is all that survives. It's big, ornate, fantastic building. Unfortunately, during the time, all the architects, local councils wanted to knock down all these nice old buildings and replace them with utter shite, to say the least. Here's the back of the Blue Coat School now. Some of the other surviving warehouse buildings, given a hipster makeover. Before you get to the Georgian Quarter, you typically pass through the what's called the rope walks area. Got the name rope walks, and more like the long threads ropes that they'd line out down the streets apparently. In amongst all like the bars, it's a bit incongruous, a bit weird. You've got like all the old nun's house. We just found that a bit strange amongst all like the raucous bars. This building here used to be like derelict, windows all boarded up. There was like a big Banksy on the side of it, like a big rat. I'm guessing he painted over it, I'm not quite sure what he did with it. Yeah, old Chinatown. Largest Chinese arch in the UK. Liverpool, home to the oldest Chinese community in the UK as well. Bigger than I remember it, to be honest. Never noticed that before actually. Walking down like sort of little pagodas or something. Old drinking hole for the Chinese community. The area's a bit of a weird mix down here, still waiting to go under quite a bit of regeneration, so it's kind of, even though city centre, it's kind of been forgotten about a bit. There have been numerous regeneration programmes cited, but due to sort of like corruption and stuff in the council, it's seems to have always fallen through. So unfortunately the city is prone to quite a lot of backhanded corruption going on, unfortunately, so it's kind of hampered the regeneration efforts over the years. See, the street signs are translated into Mandarin around here. It's St. Luke's Church, though better known locally as the bombed out church. About the 1830s, another casualty of World War II. Central Park nave and whatnot have been destroyed, bombed out, but the facade, outside structure remains. So now they use it as sort of an exhibition space. See all the Central Park missing. Left in that state is a sort of reminder of World War II, horrors of World War II. Luckily didn't get completely pulled down. I remember I used to work up the hill here, and when I finished work I walked down like summer evening and they'd have Hammer horror films going on inside, like red and green sort of lights going on, and you'd hear like the screaming and stuff from the film. So it was quite funny walking down, and impromptu bars and stuff going on. Records fair today. It'd be nice to go inside, but I think the actual church is closed off. Street you got in the Georgian Quarter, Rodney Street, often referred to as the Harley Street of the North because of the abundance of like doctors, surgeries that used to be along here. It's like backdrop of films, dramas. Some of the oldest parts of Liverpool, late 1700s merchant houses, Georgian houses. Get a good vista, albeit somewhat blocked, but you get a good vista of the Liverpool Cathedral, Anglican Cathedral, behind, rising up above the Georgian townhouses. The 8th largest church in the world, cathedral in the world, and 5th largest by area in the world, and largest in the UK in terms of area space. Salisbury's got the tallest, but by space the Anglican Cathedral is largest in the UK, Britain. Gothic looking cathedral, but it's actually quite new. Started being built in 1901, I think finished in about 75. Part of the reason it took so long to build was obviously due to monetary, I think funded by the people of Liverpool, but by and large also because of the outbreak of the wars, World War One and Two. Quite a strange figure at the entrance. Never been able to work out what it's supposed to be. A modern version of Jesus or something maybe. I was going to pop in, but a guy who works there said it's crammed inside at the moment, so I might pop back in later, but I'm not sure if I get a chance. If not, I'll come back another time and do a video inside. A little walk down into the old quarry instead. You should pop down here if you come to the cathedral. You see the old gravestones. What was a quarry, I think a lot of the buildings in Liverpool, the city, were built using the stone from the quarry and then became a cemetery. Now a park below the cathedral itself. Like mid 1800s, possibly a bit older. A lot of people, like a whole family on there, I think. City. Oh, it's nice and cool down here. I've not been down here for years. We've got how many tombstones, gravestones there. You can see where they've cut out the rock though. And the masons there. Masonic movement. The Eye of Horus or Providence, is it? So the sort of gothic look vibe with all the old tombstones overgrown. See the cathedral up there rising up. A deep chasm. Nice place that not necessarily, I don't think necessarily a lot of people would know about. Sort of hidden away when you're walking past. Predates the cathedral. Oh, he's got one person with a guitar string one. See most of the tombstones are lined up against the side here now, but I'm guessing they would have all been like the centre part here. And I'd hazard a guess, but I'm not entirely sure, they'd moved the bodies out elsewhere, maybe to other cemeteries in the city. If so, I'm not exactly sure where. I'd have to read up, try and find out on that. I guess wordings they used to put on the epitaphs, on the tombstones. Indefatigable and self-denying, she was the widow's friend, support of the orphan and fearless. I'm not holding my breath, but it's, I hope someone puts that on mine. I think obviously because so many people, families were poor back in that day, a lot of them probably paid for the one tombstone, save money, but then I just looked a bit closer. Actually this one says Liverpool Orphan Boys Asylum, so obviously the reason why there's so many names on one, he died young, no parents. Yeah, they're all female orphans asylum. Didn't know that was here actually. Blue Coat Hospital. Liverpool actually has two cathedrals, kind of aptly facing one another, either end of Hope Street. The Metropolitan Cathedral, actually known as Paddy's Wigwam locally. Technically is older than the Anglican Cathedral, though it doesn't look like it. Obviously looks a lot more modern, like a sort of crown. Was actually originally intended to be cathedral built there. That was be much bigger than the Anglican, rival St. Paul's in Rome. But only the foundation stone was ever laid. It's got a crypt inside. The original cathedral had been built, the original designs that were envisaged. Then it would have meant clearing a load of the buildings around that area. Nice little Georgian houses down side street, Pope Place. Liverpool Philharmonic Hall, Art Deco, original building burned down. Well, it's supposed to be like an Egyptian crypt, just as you come in the entrance hall. Very low ceiling, then opens out before you go into the auditorium. The Liverpool Philharmonic dining room's just over the way as well. 1901, lovely inside, like neo-Renaissance style. Try and pop in later to show you the inside. Well, it's probably most known for its toilets, I think. Something a bit different in terms of cathedral, it's quite interesting. It seems to have like a sort of more Nordic feel to it. Larger bells on the outside. So the Anglican back there, you get a better view when you go to top. noticed that actually, but look more like dragons, but it's the liver bird. More of a modern depiction. Like liver bird with a Picasso-esque kind of rendition. It's like a great spot if you're a skateboarder then. I suppose there's none today. These pyramids like a running beam through the city. So you're going to get a good view from here though. Especially on a day like today of the other side of the skyline. So we even see out to the sea and I think bits of the North Wales, the mountains of North Wales. So it's a bit difficult with all the buildings there. Especially because at night I think that it's lit up as well. It's interesting because you've got these like flying buttresses but like a modern take. Show like more the traditional side, giving a modernist twist, and the front here sort of like an external altar almost. Looking down the city. Somewhere I've never been in, or you keep meaning to go when I come to Liverpool, is this old bookshop, Reader Liverpool. Old style bookshop. New bars and stuff. The old shop front here, Victorian shop front. Just come along the other end of Rodney Street. Got another neoclassical building, St Andrew's old church. It was derelict for quite a while. There's a little cemetery on the side. Like a weird tombstone I'll show you, just coming around the corner here. There's a sort of Masonic looking tombstone pyramid. Belongs to a guy from the mid 1800s called William Mackenzie. Avid gambler. Built the pyramids like that so he could be buried above ground. Various legends as to why. So he could be sat at a table with winning deck of cards and time another. So he wasn't buried in the ground so the devil couldn't claim his soul. Bit of a curiosity in the city though. It's inside the Philharmonic dining rooms, obviously musical themed. We've got different rooms, like we've got the main room just at the other ends, smaller rooms, Liszt, one there, Brahms, painting the Liszt on the wall, probably can't see there. Nice old kind of wood carving work, tracery work on the ceiling, late Victorian pomp, so like the tiled mosaic floor as well. A lot of the original details, nice old wood, oak panelling. Grade 1 listed building, some grade 1 listed toilets. So you can piss in, something a bit different. The old Victorian toilets, got a certain odour about them. I'm not allowed to use like kind of caustic chemicals on them. So historic. Don't be surprised if you get like a group of tourists just out slinging the door open, taking pictures while you're having a slag. Sorry, my fault. About that. No, it's bad, my fault. Down this rather innocuous looking street, you've got a important site for any Beatles fans, just around the corner here. So I don't think you can get in any closer due to it being all like student accommodation. Yeah, you can't get any closer to that building over there. Just around the corner is the old maternity hospital. The old hospital where old Johnny Boy was born in 1940. From Central I mentioned about earlier, this is where the original Quiggin stores moved to. So you remember there's a large central hall with a large organ in the middle. Statue of Ken Dodd. Filmed that because I watched a documentary. I think Americans, Canadians, can't remember, did a YouTube video visiting Liverpool. And thought the statue of Ken Dodd was Mary Poppins. So coming out of Lime Street Station, where a lot of the trains come from, including London. This is the first sort of site most people get of Liverpool, including St George's Hall. Nicolaus Pevsner, Sir Nicolaus Pevsner, architectural historian, cited to be the finest neoclassical building in the world. And you've got this crap over here because they not downloaded the historical buildings. One of them had a big Guinness clock on it. Empire Theatre over there. Large Corinthian fluted columns around entrance, and then small doorway leading in. Actually nice to go in, but I'm not sure when it's open next. Go at some point. Old hotel now, Radisson. These friezes like you get on sort of a Greek temple, but twist, Liverpool twist, obviously tie in with its importance as a trade port. For a long time, Liverpool collects produce and exports to manufacturers of the country. Obviously a lot of important imports, exports during the heights of the British Empire, second city of the British Empire after London at that time. Again, the concert room inside. Bit of a sort of like semi-oval shape. Charles Dickens did a few readings in there during his time. Come up to Liverpool. Apparently he was very impressed by it. It's the finest concert hall or something to that effect. It's not the most comfortable place to sit in for a performance though. The old wooden benches in there. One thing I failed to mention with the town hall earlier is that it's the final site of the last official act of the American Civil War, 1865, remember correctly. Fugitive ship Shenandoah entered the Mersey some point in time in 1865, surrendered themselves by going to the town hall and officially surrendering themselves, which brought the conclusion to the American Civil War. I think it's fugitive ship for several months. Pop into the ship of Mitre for one before heading back home. Just below here is the tunnel. Goes under the River Mersey across to the Wirral side. Designed in the 1930s, that's why you got all like these Art Deco structures. It was used not too long ago, recently, for scenes in one of the Fast and Furious films. Ship of Mitre. Not quieter than expected for a Saturday. Mustn't have been payday this Friday. And I'm going to head back now. Need something to eat.